Hello my crafty peeps, it's Cheyenne from PixieCrafter.com. I've got a bit of an updated art room tour for you. Yay! So some things are the same, some things are completely different. The first thing I'm going to point out is my art table. Now, my boyfriend is very handy, and it's so nice to have a man around the house who's handy. And he actually took this solid wood dining room table and he put blocks under it, so it's actually lifted up so I can stand up while I'm doing my crafting and my art, and that is how I prefer to work. I am a hairstylist. I spend a lot of time on my feet, so it feels strange to me to sit down for long periods of time, so I love that. And the next new addition in here are these two, I'm going to go ahead and call them dressers because that's what they were intended to be. But look at how tall these guys are. Like, these are pretty tall. I am 5'5.5" because that half really does count, and it's coming up just underneath my shoulders. So lots of storage space. I love the solid wood of it. I love how it's a minimalistic look, but there are some details. If I wanted to at a later date, like, I might actually kind of get painting on it, make it look like something you might get from like a Hobby Lobby or something like that. But I love it. It's perfect for storing a lot of my embellishments and stuff. So those are the two main differences here. So alright, let's start off over here. So here I've got my entertainment center. I spend a lot of time up here, and I like to have the TV going either with just a video that I could just kind of, watch and not pay attention to. So I've got my Blu-ray, DVD player, DirecTV, and my Roku. So I've got a lot of different options, and there are times where I'll just have like a music playing on my TV, and that's nice. Also got my aromatherapy, which I find very helpful. Those of you who suffer allergies, the lavender, lemon, and peppermint mix is a pretty effective treatment. And we've got my Tsum Tsum collections and my little pop figures that I just love. I think I'm going to have to actually put like a little shelf or something right up there, like a little shallow something to better display them, because I feel like they're just kind of like sitting there. I've got some artwork up there. I'm still working on moving things around, but I do plan on kind of filling up this whole area with just inspiration pieces. I still have all of my dies that I don't have associated with a stamp set up here in frames, and I've got room for more. I like that. I like that setup. I like being able to look and see what's going on. So let's go ahead and continue over here. We've got my closet. This is a frozen bed sheet. That's all it is. And most bed sheets, they do have like the little pockets going on up at the top here. So I just cut two little slits so I could actually put it on a tension rod. And that is my closet door because I like it, because most of the time this is actually open. And this is my paper. All of my paper. So in this rolly cart right here, this is all of my scrap paper. So that is very nice to have. I can wheel it out whenever I'm, working on projects and I think I'm going to need a little scrappy piece. And then here I've got, this is actually part of my Mickey crafting, so let's just put that out of the way. Paper pumpkin kits that I have. Some of them I still have pieces in them, and I just kind of like to keep them there. That's actually a scrap piece of paper. And here, this is kind of all cards that are ready to go for birthdays and thank yous and that sort of thing. Up here, I'm kind of reorganizing this. It's kind of a catch-all, like junk drawer sort of thing right now. Here we have all of my foil papers, my glitter papers, anything that's more of a solid color 12 by 12. Down here I have acetate and kind of like this little fabric adhesive paper that I got, which is kind of fun. It's the Die Cuts with the View Vintage Collection fabric. I got that years ago, and it is a fabric and it's got an adhesive back on it. So I love them. I'm still figuring out what to do with them. And then over here, I've got this little guy here. This has all of my pattern papers on it. For the most part, I will get the paper packs and I will separate them out into colors, patterns, that sort of thing. If I think I'm going to need to know the complete set, I have the entire packs that are still together kind of down here so I can go through them. But I prefer to just, all right, I need a green 12 by 12. So I can go through all of my greens and I can get the right thing. That's how I roll. I've got my Disney Project Life album. Actually, yeah, that one's Project Life for right now. But I'm going to go back to solid 12 by 12 scrapbooking. I've got my large art papers, so mixed media and Bristol and just various other papers and things, and my canvases are up here. This I've shown in a previous tour. It's just one of those metal shelving units that are supposed to be like the squares, and I just reconfigure them differently with little zip ties to make my storage, and I love this. It works for me. I can pull these in and out. I do have in most of these a big piece of chipboard here, so I can just kind of pull it all out and put it in. I have all my papers here in the closet, so and I can pull this so they are protected from the sun and stuff like that. So fading's going to be alright. Alright, this is how I am storing my 8.5 by 11 sheets. So over here, I've got all of my Stampin' Up, and I've got Room to Grow. I'm not, technically right now I'm still a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm not pushing it as much anymore, just because I wanted to branch out. I've done a video on that, and it's fine. That doesn't mean I don't love the Stampin' Up products, and I love their cardstock, especially when I take the Stampin' Up cardstock and I compare it with like the Recollections Value ones. There is a huge difference, but sometimes you just want a cheap piece of, you know, cardstock, and those ones are great for the kids to use, and it's fine. But my Stampin' Up, it's a little nicer quality. I like it. I do like all the colors in Stampin' Up, so I'm going to continue to purchase the Stampin' Up cardstock, the inks, stuff like that. I love how all the colors kind of go together, and that's fantastic. So don't think I'm bashing Stampin' Up. I still love them. I'm still going to purchase from them. I just might not actually be a demonstrator. But until the end of the year, if you do want to make any Stampin' Up purchases, you can absolutely head on over to my shop and do that. The link is over on pixiecrafter.com. Alright, and then down here, we've got extra little like art papers and foils and contact paper, little paper pads, and in this one I've got more of my like 6 by 6 sort of paper pads, and these are I believe 8 by 8, and then I've got a 6 by 12 paper pad that I'm anxious to start working on. And then I've got, these are empty. I have Room to Grow, and that's fantastic. Here I have kind of like Goo Gone, my stamp refill, but mostly this is stuff for like gift packaging, treat bags, that sort of thing. And down there, that's just a whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff. It's another junk drawer, essentially. Here I've got a lot of my Stampin' Up Project Life cards, or the ones that I've made myself. I've got a little 6 by 8 album that I can get started at any time. More space to grow, my Cuttlebug stuff. I've got my Bind It All. Underneath here is all the coils for my Bind It All, and just random sort of stuff. I've got my bench here for anyone, animal, vegetable, or mineral that wants to come and join me and sit with me in my art room while I'm crafting. I've got my sewing station. That's my grandma's old sewing kit that's just kind of there. It's nice to kind of feel it. She's here because she was the one who kind of got me into crafting. Like, she was the person who taught me how to crochet. I still can't crochet, but she got that whole thing started. Underneath here, it's a perfect area to store my Razcog cart. Oh, I've got various things. I've got my DIY spritzers, sponges. Up here, I've got my blocks, like things I tend to reach for a lot. My Stampin' Up washi tape, my Disney washi tape, and Tim Holtz, and whatever washi tape I happen to be using a lot. I've got my adhesives and, you know, various other things that I'm reaching for on a fairly regular basis right there. Alcohol inks, distress stains and paints, and this is pretty much, yeah, all for doing shakers, which I haven't done in a really long time, and I'm getting itchy to. I've started doing some Christmas cards, so look forward to seeing some stuff there. This is a wonderful tool. This is the Distress Marker Spritzer, I believe it's called. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. If you don't have it, get one. It will work with not only the distress markers, but any brush tip marker, and that's wonderful. So there's that. Excuse me, need to take a little sippy out of my Witch's Brew cup. It is Halloween today, so I gotta get that in while I can. Oh, here is my work surface, and I love having this big open space. I love that it's solid wood. I've done a lot of crafting on these little like card tables, and they're great if you're on a budget, but I do feel like they're a little more flexible than I would like them to be. Excuse me. Alright, so this little piece here, this is actually one of the extension leaves for this table. So can you imagine, like, I've got one of the leaves in. If I had the other leaf in, this would be a huge table, and I love it. So yeah, that's just there. Underneath here, I've got my silicone mats. I've got my press board. I've got cutting mats underneath here. So all of that flat stuff, and I've got my Tim Holtz platform here, Stampin' platform, all within easy reach, but it's kind of tucked away. Kind of a staging area going on here. There's one of my projects that I'm doing a video on soon, and just things I tend to reach for a lot. My phone, remotes, my ATG gun, of course, all of my Stampin' Up inks, and I've got Distress ink, well, all of my re-inkers. I love Distress inks and Stampin' Up, so those are the inks that I will be using. I enjoy them, and I don't know that I want to get into collecting every single brand of ink and all of that, but those, they're separate, they're equal, they're wonderful. I love them. Yeah, different tools I have. I got these little bins, which are great. Can kind of show you. I've got some, you know, any little like die cuts, any dies that I'm working with, I can kind of like toss them in there so that they're close by, but I'm not going to lose them somewhere on my table. I've got a lot of the tools that I reach for a lot when I'm working. I've got all of my various adhesives here. I've got another, that's a standby of the Scotch Tacky Glue. This, I believe, is my favorite crafting adhesive. Like, I've been hooked on it for a really long time. Before it was Scotch Tacky Glue, when it was still Scotch Quick Dry. Various liquid misters, my Pearl Mist, alcohol, and water. I've got all sorts of markers and pens and everything. I've got these fine tip ones, which are really nice, especially if you're going to do like colored Bentangles. Here I've just got various tools that I've collected over the years, other dimensionals. These are actually like really thick, and then various like die cut bits and pieces that I can just kind of grab. And I've got like miscellaneous stuff in here. All of my little pre-cut hearts are here, my Mickey heads, and the silica gel packets, which you can dye and then add to shaker cards. Extra adhesives there. I've got a Disney countdown that I'm working on because this one's just not doing it for me, so I've got to redo this. This is just a 5x7 clear acrylic picture frame, some suction hooks that I actually went ahead and glued on. Oh, I've got to re-glue that one. Just to, because they kept falling off, because that's what suction cups do. So I just actually glued those on. So I've got these and different colors of Mickey heads with number stickers on them so I can have my little countdown. I do have a Disney trip coming up and I'm excited about that. Yay, love my Disney. So here's where I film my videos. I've got my video set up here. It works, it works. Got my new rug so it's nice and cushy under my feet, and my little kitty, my Nico cat, she likes to be like right about here. Which is really fun when I'm trying to go back and forth and not step on her. And alright, so let's go over to kind of the newness. So here I've got photopolymer and cling stamps that I have collected over the years, and I've just put them in these CD cases. So here we've got like Tim Holtz ones. I find this works best for me. I like that I can just kind of like, you know, quickly kind of go through. So I've got those, I've got my roller stamps, and you know, various things. Always good to have the Swiffer little duster thingies, and coffee filters, very good to have in your craft room. I've got my current Stampin' Up stamp sets. So these are all the ones that have dies to them, and these are background and holiday. And then up here we have just stamp sets without anything else really going on. I've got my Stampin' Up punches. These are current, these are retired, and I do put like little stickers on them so I know what's what. I've got my chameleon markers. Those are alcohol markers, and those are really fun to use. There's a bit of a learning curve, and I'm still working on it. This is a DVD case, so I've got all of my retired Stampin' Up sets here, and just some other like random stuff, just filling it in a little bit with randomness. Alright, here I enjoy these little Rubbermaid drawers. So this is going to be my Distress ink ones. So I've got those in, and I think they're pretty decent size for just having the inks in, and then I can pull them out. I've got my ink pad on the backs with little Velcro little spots. So that's how I like to store my Distress inks, and because this is plastic, it's really easy to kind of clean it up. So these are going to be my full size Distress, and if I need to add on to that, I have room to grow. And here is where I can store all of my Stampin' sponges, my ink sponges here. This little one, I've got all of the applicators for the Distress inks, some washi tape. I've got my Distress ink crowns and all of my retired markers, or my Distress markers. So I love that these are clear. I don't feel that I have to necessarily label them, because I can see right through and see what's going on. I've got my Disney trash can highlighters. I don't actually use them as highlighters. I think they're just cute little decorations. These little things, they pretty much stayed the same from my last art room tour. Just random stuff. They're actually, I think, pot holders from IKEA. And my spice rack that I have converted to a kind of embellishment Brad's buttons carousel. So that's nice. I've got my tapes. I'm actually out of my double-sided tape because my son comes in and he decides to use it for like construction projects. So it's interesting what the boy can do with tape. Here we've got, I'm going to show quick, staging area. Woo! So those are cards that I'm working on, cards that I'll need to photograph and whatnot. Here is my Disney embellishments and stuff, things that, not embellishments, keepsakes. So things that we've collected from Disney that I need to put into albums. Got that on sale. The Tim Holtz configuration, so I've got to decorate that, and I'm kind of going to decorate that more with Christmas stuff. This is a box with various florals that I can use in my photography for my different projects, and here is my photography area for now. I don't know how long it's going to stay this way, but so far I'm kind of liking it. I need to get a better, well, a longer bit of this, and but yeah, so far it's working. I've got my little light here so I can make sure it's well lit, and it's gorgeous. Here I have kind of my big shot stuff, so I have embossing folders and texture plates and all the different platforms for my big shot, and I love my big shot. My big shot is so nice. And this is a great way to store it. It's just a little piece of like shelving. That's my secret. I use a lot of shelving liners for everything, but like this, it's non-skid, and I can, it's all just right here, and I can just go and do it, and it's wonderful. My die brush, and then right next to it I've got my Cricut. So here is kind of like my die cut area, excuse me, and it's wonderful. I've got everything set up. I can kind of scooch this over if I need to set up my laptop, or I can do my laptop over there. So plenty of area here for me to actually stage any of my Cricut cutting. If you do not have a Cricut machine yet, I feel it's worth saving up for and getting it. I use mine a lot. There's so many different materials that you can use to cut with it, especially if you get the new Cricut Maker. You can start to do fabric, so quilting, doll clothes, like different sewing projects, and that's pretty lovely. I've got my Heidi Swap Mink machine over there. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this. Sometimes it works fantastically for me. Other times I'm about to throw it out the window. So that's kind of what I hear is pretty common for foil machines and laminators, so I don't feel too terribly bad about my struggles. But I'm still working through it and working on it, and we're gonna get through it. I store my Cricut cutting mats right up here. I just have a thumbtack put in the wall, and they just kind of live there. My cleaning stuff. Underneath here is a bit of a mishmash because I'm going through and kind of reorganizing everything. So I've got laminating sheets and stuff basically for the Mink machine, my pink tool kit. That is my Mickey box, so all of my Disney stuff that can fit in there, it fits in there. And this is just various things, my Dremel extra magnet sheets, and I use the magnetic vent covers for my dies for magnets, and just I'm trying to empty out this area so I don't necessarily need it. I do have my new guillotine die cutter or trimmer up there for when I'm doing a whole bunch of cards and stuff. In this bin I just have a bunch of my finished cards, and I can sell them, or if I want to put together a little gift pack as a gift, a present, I can go ahead and do that, and they're all ready to go. I have them in these nice Stampin' Up! Plastic sleeves, so they kind of stay protected. I've got holiday cards and projects there, and this is just kind of my staging center for envelopes and my Stampin' Up! Kit, so that I can, if I do choose to sell anything, I've got the Stampin' Up! Stuff on it. There is my You-Do. I've got to get back into using that. It was really fun. With our Disney trip coming up, I might do that because I generally try to make us shirts for our Disney trip. Okay, so let's get into the big thing. This is really what I wanted to film today, and that's how I'm organizing all of these lovely drawers. So let's start over here. These three drawers are stickers. So here I've got like 3D stickers, like my pearls, my rhinestones, anything like that, anything of a 3D nature. Those are going to live in there. And these I don't mind if they're just kind of strewn in there. I don't mind shuffling through everything to find something on occasions when it's something like this, if it's not necessarily a theme specific. And then I've got my alpha stickers. Again, like no real rhyme or reason. I can just kind of quickly go through them and see if there's anything I want. And in general, I pretty much know what I have in my collection. I don't know how we do that, but we do. And this is just various different stickers that I kind of have, it is kind of organized and whatnot. I've been using a lot of these photo boxes in my drawers because they work perfectly. So just all kinds of various stickers, and I think I even have some rub-ons in here. So that's where all that's going to live. Here we've got my ribbon and fiber drawer. So here's Stampin' Up. Some of it's current, some of it's retired, but anything Stampin' Up with the ribbons and threads, like I love anything. Like they're wonderful. They're definitely an awesome quality. I've got a lot of like ribbons from like the dollar bin over here, and you can just tell the difference, and it's pretty awesome. So my Stampin' Up stuff I keep on the spools and everything. Just because it's a separate entity, and I value it. I value it so much. Remember fibers? Remember when we used to scrap and craft with fibers? So I haven't done that in a really long time because mine were hidden away. So now I've got all of my fibers here. So hashtag bringing fiber back. And here's how I store all of the rest of my spool ribbons, because otherwise there's just not enough room. So these are just clothespins, or in some cases paper clips, and I just wrap the ribbon around that. And again, this is something I don't mind kind of just shuffling through and having fun. Here are my larger size ribbons or my twines that I am not prepared to actually try to wind around a clothespin or a paper clip. Here we have all of my stuff for when I'm working on my Happy Planner. It's, you know, not too full, but it's going to be full soon. It's going to be. And here we've got foils and vinyls. So any foil for the Make machine, any adhesive vinyl, iron-on vinyl, all of that's going to be in here. I've got little kits that I purchased on sale for the Mink machine, so there are different things with the toner already on them, so you can just go through, like put them through your Mink machine and you're good. Down here I've got all of my extra adhesive, things that I don't use all the time, my refills, my blade refills, and remember these? I used to use like these little tapes, and they would actually like emboss it almost, the different letters. Yeah, I still have one of those, because I'm old. All right, over here, we've kind of got the Scrapbooking Ephemera and Embellishments Center. So I've got any sort of like paper, Project Life card, ephemera stuff going on in here. I've got some of these Smashbook things that I had hidden in my closet, and I'm like, why don't I use these? Because these are wonderful. Look at that. Journaling cards already done, ready to go. Just got to stick them in. You saw me did a tutorial on getting print and cuts, like getting the digital files for different things and adding them to your Cricut design space and printing them out. So that's where all of that's living for now. Here we've got more like 3D embellishments, chipboard things that don't have adhesive on them. So that's all going to live in here. And then here I've got just various embellishments that I've collected that I could use. It's more of a mixed media sort of drawer. So I've got vials and what did we call these? The slides. Remember when we used to use slides and make jewelry out of? Like science slides? Memory glass, as they're calling it here, and stuff like that. So I've got that there, different things I can use in mixed media. I've got one of these that I forgot about. This is what happens when you go through all of your stuff and reorganize. This actually will heat up these little guys that have adhesive on them, and it's wonderful. You can put them on a lot of different surfaces, and it's great. I have no idea if you can actually get that in real life anymore, if they actually sell any of that, but I've got some now. Whole bucket of different rhinestones, and this is just various little tchotchkes and stuff for like jewelry making or mixed media or something like that. In here we've got my glitter glue, fabric paint, Nuvo drops, 3D paints that I got eons ago. These actually smell a little bit like different things, like strawberry or cake or popcorn. Don't know how Emmers did it, but they kind of did. And it's like Jelly Bellies, but in a 3D paint form. Oh, here I've got old stamps, wood stamps. Eventually, someday, I'm probably going to unmount these maybe, possibly, I don't know. It's been years and I still haven't, so I probably won't ever do that. But various wood stamps that I've collected, most of those were from the Dollar Bin at Michael's, and punches that are not Stampin' Up. So those are all living in here. All of the foam, I get these big packs of foam from Walmart, very inexpensive. These don't have adhesive on them, but you can get them with adhesive back. And these are great for when you are putting dimension on cards or scrapbook layouts. Down here, this is more of a jewelry making drawer. So anything that I need to make jewelry. I go through spurts with jewelry making. Sometimes like I'm really big into it. Other times I'm like, And then down here I've just got miscellaneous art stuff. So a palette that's too big, my travel kit, oil pastels, and yeah, different pastels and stuff. So nothing too big there. Okay, over here, this is where the photos that I'm going to scrapbook or need to scrapbook or printed out for scrapbooking are going to go. My kids' school pictures, they're all in here. I've got to get a lot of those actually framed and put on the wall. I've got my mini ink, mini distress inks, so I think this is perfect for that. And if I do decide to get the tins down the road, then I can go ahead and store my tins in here too. I do want to collect more of the mini inks because I find I use them more. I'm going to grab them more, and they're a good size, they're a good value, and you can get the re-inkers, so you don't necessarily need like the big ink pad. I like the storage for these better than those, but that's neither here nor there. All of my extra ink pads are there. I've got all of my trimmers here, so that's kind of nice because I do have quite the collection of trimmers, and it's just nice to kind of be able to grab in, or if I'm crafting with someone else, I can just quickly hand them a trimmer and call it a day. Here we've got all of my embossing powders, all of my glitters. I even have some flocking, my Versamark ink pads, ultra thick embossing enamel, my beeswax. These are more for my melting pot, and that's a whole lot of fun too. I've got to do more stuff with that. My mica powders, my perfect pearls, Martha Stewart fine glitters. I love ultra fine glitters. So yeah, I want to start to expand my embossing powder collection. So at some point, this entire drawer is going to be embossing powder, and then this drawer, which is empty, is going to be glitter. So there's my goals, to have an entire drawer of embossing powder and an entire drawer of glitter. That will be a good life then. Here are all of my paints, my gessos, Mod Podge, matte mediums, texture pastes, all of that sort of thing, my palettes, and all of that, things that I will need for mixed media, or yeah, mixed media really. And here are just tools, my punch boards, my happy planner, punch, crimper. Remember those? That is actually a circle cutter for Martha Stewart. I still have like the little blade. You put the blade in there and you can, it cuts out your circles. My melting pot, that actually cuts so that you can make like those paper lanterns, like the ones with the slits down the side, not the big round ones. So I've never actually used it, but I got it on sale. So yeah. All right, and that pretty much concludes my art room. Thank you for joining me on this lovely tour. I hope this has helped you to get some ideas on how to keep your space organized. The important thing is to learn what you need when you craft. I am not a super organized crafter. I like to be able to reach in and grab what I need and know where everything is, but I don't necessarily need it to be so OCD. I'm also not one that enjoys a whole lot of mess around me, so I know this about myself. I know that this is what I need for my crafting and my art, and this is what I have to have. So this is something that helps me, this setup helps me to do that. But know what kind of artist you are, what kind of crafter you are, and don't be ashamed if you're a messy crafter, or if you need everything to be exactly in its place. Like, that's okay. That's who you are. Embrace it. But all right, enjoy the rest of your day. Happy Halloween. This probably won't go up until like a week from now because that's the way I roll. But today's Halloween, so happy Halloween. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye. Want to see more? Here's a couple videos that might interest you. And visit my website and blog for more project ideas and inspiration, and to keep up to date on everything happening in the pixie crafter world. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye!